Hello everyone, Pinder Productions here, and today I'm back with episode 15 of my F1 2016 career mode series, and today we go to Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Welcome and good evening, race fans. The clock is ticking down to the start of today's practice session here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, the setting for this weekend's Singapore Grand Prix.
So I skipped the opening bit that usually has the R&D stuff because there was no R&D updates. I got a green score in the track acclimatization, and I also got a purple score in the tyre wear. The tyre wear was in the rain, so it made it quite a lot easier than if it was in the dry. I got purple every single time. But because I was going slowly, it did mean I had to do the qualifying lap pace test in practice too. However, I did do an upgrade to the car, or begin an upgrade between the two sessions.
Everyone's talking about this new rival you have. Check his stats out.
It looks like she's dyed her hair. So, anyway, my new rival is Sebastian Vettel, and I did upgrade the aero performance upgrade, so that should be coming next episode.
We've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So those are our qualifying goals. Let's go to qualifying now.
It's late in the evening here in Singapore and it's time for qualifying, so settle down and enjoy the action. This is the kind of track that eats rear tyres for breakfast, or so I'm told by more experienced drivers than myself.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
In qualifying, I went out on the ultra soft tyres, and I wasn't actually running away with the lap time, as you can see the proximity arrow down there, and I bagged P1 though, so that was good to see, and that means I'll be starting at the front. Resource points I now have 193, and remember I did upgrade the aerodynamics, or start the upgrade, so I spent about 775 resource points already this episode, so considering I'm at almost 200, it's not that bad. And those are our race goals. Let's go to the race now.
Hello and welcome one and all to the shining streets of Singapore. Can you believe we've been coming here for nearly a decade now? It feels like only yesterday that Felipe Massa was dragging his fuel hose down the pit lane in that eventful opening race, and in a Grand Prix won from pole position more often than not, will we see a new victor crowned today? Situated just 88 miles north of the equator, this 3.5-mile circuit is hot, it's humid, and is an incredible test for the drivers as they try to fight their cars around the bumps and in between the barriers. 23 corners take us twice over the bay to complete a single lap of this unique racetrack. The view is spectacular, the heat is unbearable. The race should be incredible. Anthony Davidson is alongside me in the commentary box this evening, and big race this one, a real test of endurance. Sounds right up your alley. Wouldn't you just love to be down there on the grid right now?
You know what, Crofty? I'm pretty happy to be up here in my air conditioning, thank you, right now. I can't stress just how difficult these conditions can be, especially when you consider it's the longest race on the calendar in terms of time. It's also one of those races where you have to remember to keep drinking, or there's a real risk of dehydration, just like we saw with young Kevin Magnussen a couple of years ago, don't forget. We mentioned the bumps as well. Take a look at the onboards if you get a chance during this race. The movement in the suspension and the chassis is just incredible, and it's lots of hard work to wrestle the car around a lap here.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. It's Ferrari in pole position then, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen.
So for the race strategy, I chose again the fastest of the and less aggressive strategy. Also, it looks like it's going to get sunny, although it's in the night. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I guess the cloud cover will just go, and here we go to 5 red lights, and away we go. Bit of a bad start there. Looks like Rosberg has made a move on me off the starting line. Can I brake later than him? Yes, I can. I'm round the outside, cutting the corner a tiny bit there. But I've made it round and haven't cut about too much. I've still made it on track, so that is the main thing. And I am still in P1 in standard fuel mix at the moment, and up into rich at the start of what would be above lap 3, the DRS zone. And here we go up to the end of the straight and braking for turn 4, I believe this one is, or 5. Anyway, and I'm still in the lead, going slowly around that corner there, a bit too deep, but I'm keeping the lead, although not, again, a bit like the end of qualifying, not running away with it. Rosberg and Hamilton are keeping within touching distance of me, which is good to see for some competition and a bit of a fight hopefully during the race. But we will have to wait until this hairpin here, which is actually quite difficult. Hopefully I won't clatter the barriers. No, I didn't. I was able to miss that, but Hamilton and Rosberg are very close to me. Can I outrun them on the straight in Rich Mix 3? It looks like I am pulling away from them, breaking into this corner though, almost touching the wall there, and they're close again. Every time I exit the corners, they are so close there. However, I am remaining ahead. Luckily, there is that 3 building with the link across the top. I really like that building with the infinity pool. It's documented quite a lot on the television when they go to Singapore. So, yeah, it does get quite a lot of media coverage. It looks very, I don't know what to say really, quite elegant in some ways, but also quite unique, and I quite like that building. Anyway, across the start-finish straight, and I am in first place with the fastest lap. So on towards the end of lap 5 now, and I am coming in for my one and only pit stop. Going way too quickly around that corner there, having to cut over the curbing to get in. I didn't anticipate that. Usually it's a 5th gear corner, but obviously in the pit lane entrance it's not that much because it's a tighter radius and a thinner line. Anyway, we are going out of the pits now. You can see all the mechanics and pit wall people doing their pit wall stuff, and there's a safety car there on the left. And we are coming out into P12 behind the Renault of Kevin Magnussen there. So we are going around the second corner quite hard, slamming on the brakes there, scrubbing the tyres as we leave for good measure, making some wear on them immediately pretty much. Hopefully not too much wear. The wear wasn't too bad. We were on about 20% when we came in on the previous set of tyres that we also did qualifying on, so hopefully these tyres should last even better. I don't think tyre wear will be an issue for this race, as the track acclimatization even in the wet was so easy, so I think we should be fine for tyre wear. Fuel, I'm not sure, but we did do that fuel upgrade, so we should be alright to run Rich Mix for a while in different places. Can we make a move on Magnussen though is the question, hopefully in this section here. So coming into the bridge and hairpin now, that this was reprofiled for 2016. I do prefer the old layout when they used to have the chicane in this area. I think it was this section, because they switch which bridge they cross on. Anyway, we are on the straight now in Rich Mix, and it seems like the Renault has got away from us, but into the braking zone we've closed in on him. I bet it will be like how I was on turn 1, lap 1, basically staying ahead, but where the 2 Mercedes would catch up in the braking zones. And now I'm really close behind the rear of Kevin Magnussen. Hopefully I should be able to overtake him on the DRS straight on the pit lane, if not the second one. Oh, my teammate is in the pits there, thanks to my engineer for telling me that. Good information. So the front of the grid is pitting. Magnussen's trying to get into the pits. Not a good idea to try and overtake on that side with the pit entrance on that side. Good thing I was able to avoid it, and DRS anyway, and up into P7, P6 it looks like, behind P5 even, behind Gutierrez. Rosberg behind us, and then Gutierrez's teammate I believe is ahead of him. It looks like a whitish car. Yeah, Grosjean up there as well, and we are going to get DRS on Gutierrez, so hopefully we'll be able to overtake him on this straight, and it looks like we can do that and go around the right hand kink there on the straight, and we are up into P4 behind Grosjean. So we are in a Haas sandwich currently, and ahead of him is Hulkenberg His teammate did retire earlier in the race, unfortunately. There was a message on screen, although no virtual safety car, oddly, so that's why I cut that bit out, because there was no virtual safety car for that. I don't know actually how he retired. I forgot to do the replay cam, but there you go. Anyway, and now we break into this sort of almost hairpin, but it's just a tight corner really, and onto the main straight yet again, with Gutierrez right behind us, managing to keep up well with that Ferrari power unit on the straights, giving him equal power to us. However, our aero should be a lot better than him, considering we are a lot higher in the constructors performance scale, and we are closing in on Grosjean as well, which is good to see, as the proximity errors disappear for Gutierrez being behind us, which is good. Will Grosjean go? Oh, Gutierrez is having an issue with the car. That's not good for Haas. However, it's good for us. And can we make a move on Grosjean before the DRS? It looks like we can. The proximity errors, it looks like it's right behind us, and he's braking earlier than us. He's pulled out of the corner, and now we are up into P3 podium positions once again, and we are behind Hulkenberg. Can we make a move on Hulkenberg this lap? Hopefully we can, although the Force India has got a Mercedes power unit, so it could be a bit difficult having to cut the corner there to avoid making contact behind him. And here we go with DRS on the back straight, or front straight, or A straight. It's not really the front straight, it's not the pit lane, it's A straight with DRS, and we have made the move on Nico Hulkenberg there. And the only driver ahead of us now is Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard. And oddly enough, I was mentioning in my previous Monza gameplay how him and Alonso are always running together, and they have been doing that in real life. They did that in USA, they're running together, and I think in Mexico as well they were running like Sainz and Alonso together, the two Spaniards. However, it is not the case this episode. As you can see, I am P2 and Sainz is P1, so Alonso is not running side by side or car with Carlos Sainz there, so not Illuminati confirmed then, as I said in the previous episode. Can we make a move on Sainz? We should be able to, since he is running the previous year's Ferrari power unit, and we are running the year newer's Ferrari power unit, so we should have a significant horsepower advantage on him, and we should be able to overtake him fairly easily once we get to the pit lane. However, we are not there yet. Maybe he might go into the pits, we'll see as we come up to the final corner. No, he's staying out, so that means we will have to overtake him on the pit lane here with DRS. Here we go, going to try and get in the slipstream, round onto the inside, and got him before the braking zone, just about there. And we are back up into P1 where we belong. Sainz and Hulkenberg take the next two podium positions at the moment. However, I doubt that will remain because they still need to make stops, and I believe Rosberg will probably be the second place man. Third place, I don't know who that will be. Hopefully it will be my teammate, so that I can overtake Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship, because I am only 7 points behind him. And now, coming on to the final lap of the race, Rosberg and Vettel are right behind me now, so they have been closing in the last few laps. The previous lap they had closed in quite a considerable amount. Thanks, Jeff. And they were, as I was saying earlier, that I was hoping Hamilton would lose as many points to me as possible. It looks like that is happening, because Rosberg and Vettel will be taking the bottom two steps of the podium at the moment. Hopefully they don't try and make a move on me, at least Rosberg doesn't, throughout this lap, and I can keep my position. So we need to keep on it and keep ahead of him, as the proximity errors are very close for both of them, possibly even closer than Hamilton and Rosberg were in lap 1. So we need to keep ahead of these two quite considerably. Need to be on it this lap, because I do not want to lose points on Hamilton. I want to keep ahead for the next race, which would give us an advantage in the Drivers' Championship for the latter part of the season. I'm not very good usually in Japan, and I think Malaysia as well, and those two circuits are coming up very soon, if not the next two races. So yeah, I do need to keep on it for those two However, hopefully I should be able to do well, as I have done well here in Singapore so far. But before I say that, and touch wood really on that at the moment, because Rosberg is very close. Hopefully he doesn't try and make a move through this final sector and these final few corners here. Only 3 corners left to go now. 2 corners left to go, or 1 corner considering on whether you count it as a double apex corner or not. But here we go through the first and the second of the final 2 corners, and here we go for the fireworks and the checkered flag to win the Singapore Grand Prix.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top 3 then, out onto the podium after a fascinating Grand Prix. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings.
So here we go for the final result. Lewis Hamilton finished in 4th, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen down in 7th. I am now head of the drivers, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel, and then the 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Williams. And in the constructors, we are now leading Ferrari, leading Mercedes in the constructors championship as well. There you can see. Then it's Red Bull. We are less than 10 points ahead, but still ahead. So hopefully we can keep that how it is. Although if Rosberg keeps finishing ahead of my teammate, I'm not sure how well we can keep ahead. And as we just watch this loading screen for the resource points at the end and all of the nice stuff like that. Here we go, resource points. How many will we have? 301, that's good. We are gaining some resource points back from what we spent earlier in the episode. Here we go for drive position stuff and career score. And this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, comment below, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, I will have a look at the research development after we've had a look at we are winning. There we go, downforced upgrade. We are winning our rivalry, and as you can see there, McLaren Honda quite high, and Renault F1 team are ahead of Toro Rosso, which is a surprise. It looks like they've moved up. I haven't really been having a look at that recently. Red Bull are ahead of us, but thank you for watching as the recording ends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.